Talk to people about making Christ clean. That's what we're here for, making us clean from Christ. I got this outfit because it's white, and white symbolizes like Christ, like making me clean and pure, and all clean and snowy because I'm fresh and new because He makes me that way. And red is like His blood, you know. Anyway, if you want to talk to people about making Christ clean, that's what we're here for, making us clean from Christ. First off, I also want to thank you guys that I wrote letters to for just coming and supporting me. Anyway, so who all has a friend? Okay, excellent. Now how many people would consider Jesus a friend? You don't have to raise your hand. Now who all has a best friend? Okay, now you don't have to raise your hands again, but who all would consider Jesus your best friend? Okay, and that's excellent. And also I want to tell you then that Jesus is so much of my best friend, and He is so much of who I am. And one of the reasons, like, for example, when I was like a freshman or something like that, I asked my mom if she could take a picture of me just going like this, like this. And she never did, but I thought it'd be really cool if I could just like frame that in and put best friend. That way it'd be like, oh, and people could ask like, what are you doing there? I'm like, that's me, that's Jesus. We're taking a picture together. That's me, my best friend. But one of the best ways that Jesus actually became my best friend, like I trusted definitely in the Lord ever since I was little, but it didn't really come to me and kind of sink into what I believed until I went to Health Stop. Now, has anybody ever heard of Health Stop or a Christian haunted house, where you actually go to these places, and it's pretty much a glimpse of maybe what hell would possibly be like. I mean, we can't really even imagine, because I can't imagine. But man, I keep breathing in this thing. Anyway, so when we went there, like, what it is a Health Stop. You go through all these different sessions talking about what hell's like, and at the end, there's 3 different doors. And the 3 different doors, there's a heaven, there's a hell, and there's a question mark. In reality, there's only a heaven and there's only a hell. And those doors then, I was confident that I was going to be going to heaven, because I definitely love the Lord and I love Jesus. But then my 2 friends who I went with, they were kind of curious. They wanted to see what the question door was like. And we went through that question mark door, and right when we went through there and we talked to someone, they pretty much ensured my faith, and they told me like so much of what I believed in. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And what it was pretty much telling the story like God is this huge, giant ball of goodness. That's all He is. It's just this huge, big ball of goodness. No evil, just perfectness. And He decided, I'm going to make this big ball of goodness into human form. And once I do that, I'm going to let you guys call Him Jesus. And so He decided then to come down to earth and pretty much just let Him be the bridge to heaven, because we can't get to heaven because we're not perfect. So I started realizing that, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then about my freshman and sophomore year, has anybody ever been to a Bible readathon where you read the Bible for pretty much all night long? Okay, me and my NYS group, we did this. And we read it from probably about 6 o'clock in the evening till 6 o'clock in the morning. And these are just amazing to go to. And once I went to one of those, I found out so much of what Jesus was, and I wanted Him to start taking control of my life. And by taking control of my life, that's when it started to hit me. I'm living for the Lord, but at the same time, I wasn't. I was living for my friends. I was living for my boyfriend at the time, and I was living for just what I wanted. Because everybody wants to be popular. And everybody wants that secureness, but I wasn't finding it in what I was doing. And so I just pretty much just said, like, okay, God, you're going to have this. And one of the reasons I found that was, has anybody ever heard of Rachel Scott? She was a Columbine martyr for Columbine tragedy. And her mom actually wrote a book with her journal entries. And one of her journal entries says, I don't understand. I want to feel you in my heart, my mind, my soul, and my life. I want heads to turn in the halls when I walk by. And I want them to stare at me, watching and wanting the light that you have put in me. And once I read that journal entry, I was like, wow, this is so much of what I want in my life. Like, I want people to look at me, and I want them to realize I'm about God. And God is so much a part of me, and God has taken so much for me by dying for me and loving me. So I started praying a lot more. And all prayer is when you talk to God. Prayer is pretty much just saying, you know, when you're driving in your car and you don't have a radio, you're just like, so, alhamdulillah, I'm going to school, I didn't turn my homework in today. Oh, shoot, I left it at home. Should I lie to the teacher? No, you know, that's God. Like, I start talking back to myself. I'm like, okay, that's God, you know? And it's kind of like God, your conscience. And that's what God is. Like, when you just start thinking even about Him, that's a prayer. You just pretty much give everything up to Him, and that's how you start praying to Him. So I realized, like, a lot just through prayer. And my senior year, I tore my MCL and my ACL. Has anybody ever done that before? Okay, I know one person, two people. That is the worst pain ever. But it hurt so bad, like, especially coming out of surgery. I woke up out of surgery, and this is what I said. I was like, I started screaming. I was like, I'm still in surgery, I'm still in surgery. And then these 3 nurses came over to me, and they were like, you're not in surgery, you're in the recovery room. You know, and like, I just remember hurting really bad. Okay, anyway. And so at that time in my life, it was my senior year, and I had pretty much no friends because I was just in my house relying on me and God. No friends really came to visit me, and I was getting really sad about it, and I started realizing again, you know, I'm living again for myself, and, you know, God, I want you to be part of me. And this is when I started learning to trust in the Lord, because trust does so much for you. Have you guys ever heard that song by Bethany Dillon? The one about Beautiful? It's an amazing song. And in that song, I remember thinking when I heard it, like, it says, I'm crying myself to sleep because I cannot keep your attention. I thought I could be strong, but it's killing me. Does anyone hear my cry? I'm dying for a new life. And so at that time when I was by myself, I was like, oh, I want just friends. I want somebody to believe in me. I want somebody to capture me, make me good again. And that's when I just realized, like, I gotta trust in what the Lord is doing for me in my life. I have to be like, okay, God, this MCL and this ACL thing is yours, and you're gonna relate it to me in my life somehow. And I started realizing then He's gonna make me beautiful, and He's gonna make me stand in awe. And He steps inside my heart because He's that big ball of goodness coming down. And I'm amazed, and I love to hear you say who I am quite enough. And then it says, you make me worthy of love. So, again, I just realized that He's so much of my best friend at that time, and He's the only one who's going to be able to be there for me. So, I definitely just encourage you guys to just think about what is God doing in your life. Do you want a best friend? Do you want somebody there who's going to make you happy? You know, I'm happy, and that's for Him. So, anyway, choose the best friend, and I am Jesus Christ. That's all.